Hello class and welcome to our next lesson. Our next lesson covers two sections. Section 1.5, which talks about adding integers, and section 1.6, which talks about subtracting integers. You can find these sections on page 24 and 30, okay? And it would be helpful for you to look at these sections because they do have extra work and examples that you might find useful. Let's begin, just dive right in. So adding with integers, woohoo! So here we have some integers, whole numbers and their opposites and all that stuff. So here we have 7, which is a positive whole number, and we have a negative 4, which is a negative whole number. We're told we need to add these together. Now, some students, when they see this, they immediately think, oh, it's going to be 11, or it might be a negative 11. Well, if you thought 11 or negative 11, I hate to break it to you. You're wrong. When it comes to addition, positive numbers and negative numbers don't get along. This is true only for addition, okay? So please follow along. When adding, if you have a positive number with a negative number or vice versa, they don't get along. They're enemies of each other. So you can almost think about them like two different armies lined up for battle. Here I have my positives lined up. Here I have my negatives lined up. And when they fight, they kill each other off. A positive and a negative kill each other. A positive and negative kill each other. Positive and negative kill each other. Positive and negative kill each other. All the negatives are dead. Who's left? Positive. How many? 3. So our answer is positive 3. And you don't have to put the plus sign. So our answer is positive 3. Okay? Let's look at another example. Here we have negative 8 plus negative 3. So we line up for battle. But wait, they're on the same side. They're all negatives. So this isn't an attack. This is like reinforcements coming in. So now they've reinforced them. So what's the new number for the army? Well, it'd be 11, but they're both negative, okay? So we need to remember that. It's not that the positives now have 11 on their side, the negatives have increased. So we now have negative 11, okay? And now here we have, for example 3, we have 22 plus negative 37. Now these numbers are starting to get big enough where it's going to get ridiculous to write a bunch of plus and minus symbols. So let me show you maybe an easier way of how to add integers when you have bigger numbers. First thing we need to do is we need to determine whether our answer is going to be positive or negative. So take a look here. Is the answer going to be positive or negative? And here's how you can tell. Look at the number that is larger looking. I don't mean the larger number because we know that 22 is actually greater because it's positive, but which number looks bigger? 37. Well, is it positive or negative? It's negative. All right, since we're adding, that means once we do all the math, our answer will also be negative. So let's go ahead and put an answer box right here. I'm going to put a negative symbol right there. That helps me remember that my answer is going to be negative, so I don't forget that after I do all my math work, okay? Now we're going to do the math work, and I recommend to do it like this. Take the larger number and subtract the smaller number, okay? We subtract this, we get 5. We subtract that, we get 1. So we have 15. So our answer is negative 15. If I add 22 to negative 37, I get negative 15, okay? Subtracting with integers. This gets exciting. So here we have subtracting with integers. And I want to show you this part. Change subtraction to addition. Okay, you need to write this down because this is important. The best way to handle subtraction is to change subtraction to addition. And you can do that so long as you remember this one key rule. You need to add the opposite. What that means is we're going to change the subtraction symbol to an add symbol, and we're going to take the opposite of the second number. That number that comes after the subtraction symbol, we take the opposite of that. Let's take a look at what I mean. So let's say you have something like negative 4 minus 7. So 4 minus 7. What do? Well, we're going to take the opposite of that. We're going to change it to addition. So we have 4 plus negative 7. 4 plus negative 7. These two are basically the same thing, but it makes it easier sometimes for us to change it to addition. So here we have 4 plus negative 7, which would be negative 3. Okay? If you forgot how to do that, look back up here at the examples above, and it just follows the same rules. All right, let's take a look at another example. Let's say we have negative 5 minus 11. So a key thing to remember here is the first number does not change. You do not change that first number. Don't do it. I will smack you if you do. So do not change the first number. But we change this to addition, and we take the opposite of negative 11. So we end up with negative 5 because the first number does not change. Subtraction has been changed to addition, and we take the opposite of negative 11, which is positive 11. We add these together, and we end up with positive 6. So that is our answer. Okay? I'll work one more example so you guys can see it. Let's say that we have something like positive 40. Okay? Positive 40 minus 73. Okay, positive 40 minus 73. How are we going to do it? Add the opposite. 40 stays the same. Subtraction changes from a subtraction to addition. Take the opposite. Now, it's helpful if you cover up the subtraction symbol, because some students see that subtraction symbol and think that's a negative 73. Cover it up with your finger. What's this? Positive 73. So I'm going to write down a negative 73 because I take the opposite of that. Okay? So I now have, let me move that subtraction symbol there. Here we go. So I have 40 plus negative 73. Okay? Remember what I told you before. We've got bigger numbers here, so I'm going to take a look at which number looks bigger. 73 looks bigger. Is it negative or positive? It's negative. So I know my answer is going to be negative. Okay? So then I go and subtract. I put my bigger number there. I subtract my smaller looking number there. I go ahead and subtract. So I end up with 3, 3. So we end up with negative 33. And we're just going to call this, by the way, I forgot to put this here, but you can call this example 6, okay? That was example 6. So that's all there really is to it. Remember, you can watch the video again, and if you have any questions, please write them down and be prepared to discuss this material in class. See you all in class.